Hello and welcome to Ramco Systems, the revolutionising enterprise applications with AI, ML, chatbot, cloud, mobile and event-driven ERPs. My name's Daniel Adamek, Vice President of Logistics, and I'm here to take you onto a Coffee Connect and deep dive into our industry experts. So come and join me, sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to Ramco Systems Coffee Connect. I'm here with Daniel Rayner from GBTEC, Managing Director in the APAC region, and we're here to talk everything a little bit about digital, a little about automation, but more importantly, this is our first Coffee Connect. This is mine. I'm Daniel Adamek, VP of Ramco Systems in the logistics area for Oceania, and I'm going to speak to some influential people each month, and I've got one of them right here. Actually, Daniel, I remember Process Pioneers, an incredible and cool blog. You've got to go check it out. Actually, check out on the link below because we did one late last year, and we spoke about everything around to do with process improvement. And I think this is one of the incredible conversations right now because I'm seeing a lot of businesses, and especially in supply chain, right? It's how do you go digital? How do you go some sort of fully automated system and magnificent piece? How do I remove all this paperwork? And then I really find that process map, that initial starting phase of understanding and defining a business, it just isn't there, right? Or we lack it.
Yeah.
Do you think the more process we have, and talk to me about GBTEC for people listening out here who haven't heard of you guys before. How does it help us communicate and step into that world so we got a better level of automation and digital environment?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And thanks for having me on your
my
first
pleasure.
episode of
Episode one. Episode one.
Very excited for this conversation. Yeah, lots of good points and topics, and we could break open each of those different things you just mentioned, and they could be an episode in themselves. But I think you're right. I think as we as organisations grow and develop, and organisations are. You want to be leading the way. You want to be pioneering in the space that you're in. I like to, whenever having conversations like this, I like to zoom out and think of the bigger picture. Why do we do what we do? It's a question I ask myself every day. It's a question I ask myself before I do any sort of task or activity. And I think it's a very important question because we don't want to just be doing work for work's sake. And we don't want our team to be doing work for work's sake. We want them to be doing work that's ultimately is linking in with the strategic objectives of the organisation, whatever that might be. There has to be that direct tie-in, whether you're an organisation of 10 people, whether you're an organisation of 10,000 people or 100,000 people. There needs to be that clear understanding of how is what I'm doing relating to where the organisation is going, the vision of the organisation. So that's so important, but I think a big part of that is digitizing our businesses so that we have better understanding, better management of what we're doing. It's easier to start to measure and monitor and track the work that we're doing. I mean, the amount of organizations out there, very large organizations with tens of thousands of employees that are still doing the same, in pockets of the organization, still doing the same work they were doing 5, 10, 15 years ago. There's been no improvement. There's been no innovation in that space, and because it's no one's aware that it's being done that way, or there might be maybe a standard sort of maybe understood process, but is everyone actually complying with that process? We can all say, oh yep, that's the process, but when we're actually looking at person A compared to person B, are they actually following the same process, or do we have a call center or an area of the business that everyone's doing their own slight different variation of the process, which is incredibly inefficient. There's tons of waste there. There's a huge amount of opportunity there. So, yeah, I think a big part is capturing your processes, because wherever you are in the organization, at whatever level, in whatever position you are in, you're involved in a process in some way, shape, or form, whether you like it or not, whether you realize it or not. Processes interact. Everyone interacts with the process, and so what we need to be able to do is understand our processes better, and the first part of that is actually capturing what's going on. It's that there's that famous, that well-known quote: if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So we need to start measuring the work and the activities that we're doing. So I guess as a initial starting point, like that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of organisations start to put have an appetite to do this. To start managing and understand their business processes better, not for the sake of just having a process map, but for the purpose again of how are we driving efficiencies in the organisation, how are we achieving those strategic objectives that have been set out. And that can look like automation. I think even step one of just capturing your processes, having that transparency and that visibility, even before firing up that automation engine, the transparency that comes with that. The understanding from the wider team that is that what we're doing, or actually I didn't realize you're doing the process that way. That makes a whole lot more sense than what I'm doing. So I think there's many aspects to it under this banner of business process management, but it depends on the organisation, the maturity of the organisation, the senior leadership, whether there's buy-in. I think change is a huge, having resources to be able to manage change is a significant topic when it comes to this, because we're not just capturing the processes to look at what we're already doing, we're capturing them so we can somehow continue to improve and innovate into the future. And whenever there's change, there's potential, the potential for people to not like that change. My role that I've been doing for the past 5-10 years is now suddenly changing, and what you're saying, a bot is going to come and replace the work that I'm doing. Well, where do I fit in the picture now? So you've got all these different aspects to it, but it is the future, and I think we're going to see more and more of it. And if your organisation isn't adopting this approach, and you're not managing and innovating your business processes, then you're going to be disrupted by another organisation that does. And we have seen a lot of disruption take place in different industries, like financial services is a huge one, where you've got your digital banks, digital insurance, all of these different options now available. We don't just have to go to the big four. We've got a whole wide range of offerings available to us, and it's not just that. You look at telco, you look at electricity, like utilities, like every industry. A lot of industries are getting disrupted. You're either going to come out the other side as one of the ones pioneering and leading the way because you've created the new future, or you're going to be playing catch up because one of your competitors or another organisation, they're creating the new future and you're trying to keep up with them. If you want to dive into that topic more, it's a good plug for Process Pioneers. If you want to check out the podcast, an episode I did with Michael Roseman. He's the head of enterprise innovation at QUT, and I caught up with him, and I gave him my list. I gave him my list of standard sort of interview questions that I normally do, but he was like, Daniel, can we just talk about this particular topic about organizations creating that new future? And so we dived into that topic for a good 30-40 minutes or thereabouts. So it's a good one to check out. But anyways, that's a whole
that's
lot
amazing. and I'll tell you what, you talk about digital and automation and process, and I just saw that. I was recently traveling. I mean, the airports now make you do all the work. You check in online. You go and put your own baggage label on.
Right.
You go and put your own bag on the turn belt.
Right.
Thank you very much. You've just done our job.
Right.
Right? But that is all a process.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same with bots. Actually, even at Ramco, there's a bots on our teams, and you go, can I see my last pay slip? I'd like to take annual leave. Could you please book me a trip? Now, if you we're seeing now a change in voice automation, right?
Yeah.
And this all this Google Voice
Yep.
and I think that with that change, that means for it to be activated, the process has to be exactly this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It actually has a level of belonging.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about, you know, change and people moving into digital or automotive and saying, well, but I've done this for 5 years. Well, right now you're going to have to do something different. And I think that actually invigorates us. We're now seeing a generation of upcoming young people that basically aren't coming to work not only for a fiscal purpose, but they really want a driven purpose.
Yeah.
So they want to change. And if we change that automation, digital, organizational structures, then they're going to be part of that. So it's more about making it right, eliminating waste as required.
Yeah.
But I think you get those organizational goals the more you're in tune with the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that sit up high and go, well, this is my expectation.
Yes.
Drive that cost to serve down.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, hit these metrics.
Yeah.
But the layers below that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I remember. We did an hour session, remember, with the tool.
Yeah.
And we actually dived into, well, let's go make a few little swim lanes here.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people might have seen some of this before, but if you need to do it quickly and effectively, again, we're using software to create the conversation and it just communicates better.
Yeah.
We can't do that because have a look how many times we're doing this.
Yeah.
And then it actually allows, you know, a system like Ramco, for instance, in supply chain, we're a fully integrated system.
Yes.
So we can do your payroll, we can do your financial, your reporting, your order management, your track and trace, but more importantly, it's all driven by how you activate your process along the way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will see that paperwork could be removed if you have the challenging conversation to say, you know what, that step's no longer required.
Yes. Yeah.
We're going to use and trust the tool that will propel us.
Yes.
Fear is a big part of it.
Yeah.
How do you find that with process, how do you... It's very difficult, they say sometimes, let's say a fleet controller. Right. Now this might be a guy who's got so many decisions. Right, you were just with Linfox. I was just with Linfox in Malaysia. And you talk about how many decisions that one person has to make each day.
Totally, yeah.
He called in sick, truck breakdown. Yeah. Those 4 orders need to go by lunchtime. Okay, you do that. Now, no algorithm does it.
Right.
But if his process... He is process driven by the nature of that beast in supply chain. Yeah. So if he knows the process to quickly fix it, he needs visibility. Yeah. Yeah. So it all comes down to being able to, you know, I think, relinquish fear as well. Yeah. Right? That's right.
That's right. And I think that the other important aspect is when you're making change in your organisation, in whatever pocket it might be, do you understand the overall impact of that change? You might be hyper focused on your particular area. Does that have an impact upstream or downstream in the overall end-to-end process? So you're going to be making a change now that's actually going to give someone else a headache, or another area or a department a headache, because you're requiring more from them, or whatever you're spitting out is something different that needs to be managed. So if you don't have that sort of end-to-end visibility, you know, you could be breaking things that you're not even aware of. You could be creating more harm than it's worth. So you know, that again, that visibility from that your top level, your senior leaders need to know, how do we as an organization deliver value? What are the key areas? How does it link all together? But then also all the way down into your lower level details, where you need to know specifically, well, if we make a change in this process, what systems do we need to be aware of because of that change? Or if we have a system outage or a system update or something like that, what processes will that actually impact? You need quick visibility of that. We can't just, if you don't have that visibility, it's like we're going around with a blindfold on, just making any changes here or there and then creating chaos as we go.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly right, creating chaos as we go. I think what's good about the GBTEC tool as well,
we talk about SOP, standard operating procedure. Now, people write books on these things.
Yeah.
Some people do videos, which helps because we all think differently, kinesthetically, etc. But I think one of the keys is also that you've got something that's just a very simple map where 3 or 4 different level stakeholders can immediately see from there to there, that's what we need to do to get that out the door.
Yeah.
That's what's involved.
Yeah.
Where can I automate? Where can I go digital?
Yeah.
Where do I need a conversation about what's not required?
Yeah.
And how much of it is required?
Yeah.
A lot of people say requirements, go, well, we need to do this. I say, okay. So how often does that happen? They go, twice a week.
Right.
I go, out of the 10,000 transactions, twice a week, and that. So everybody's thinking of something that's relevant to them.
Yeah.
But I think what it needs to be, let's not put names in the process. Let's just do what's required.
Yeah.
And that way I can look at how I'm going to be efficient, effective, reduce my cost to serve, use a system to interact, etc.
Yeah.
It's a big part of that.
Yeah.
I mean, you just said it before in your role, you're going around, you're speaking to people in supply chain even, in that industry, and they want to move forward. Yeah. Don't they? Yeah. They want to now go, right, it's not only about us, it's about our customers.
Yes, yeah.
Everybody's comparing us to Uber. Yeah. Everybody's comparing it to Amazon online, end-to-end visibility, notifications, where things are in transit, right? But to get to that, we need to know our backyard, right? So it's not just out the door. So there's a lot more involved.
Yeah, and I'm sure we can all see it, like everyone that's listening to it, we all can see those organisations that we enjoy doing business with, that we enjoy working with. And it's not just a business to consumer thing, it's also a business to business thing. You know, working for GBTEC, I know those organisations that, you know, we have a partnership with or we work with. I know those that we really enjoy that relationship, or we really enjoy using their products or services because of the experience that it is and how simple and easy it is. I know from a personal experience, like just what Amazon's created, I know that it's got such a diverse range of products. It backs it up with ratings and reviews, so I don't need to spend hours going through every single doggy door, which is the most recent purchase we made. I can just go to the top of the list, to the highest rated, the highest reviewed, as long as it ticks the boxes for me. It's cut down all of that research, all that Googling, all of that going to Bunnings, trying to look at all of the different options there. They give me all the options, they tell me which is the best one. They make it super easy for me to check out in 1 or 2 clicks. Yep. And then that doggy door is on my doorstep in 1 to 2 days.
So that's for when you're in the doghouse.
That's
so it was a square meter. That's where I go. I've got to go there.
That's right. I haven't installed it yet. But just that whole experience for me, it's like, and that's not the only thing I bought. Like I'm almost on there every week, and now even replacing items that I would normally be getting from Coles or Woolworths or Bunnings. To this experience where I actually don't need to leave my study. It's not that I don't want to leave my study or don't want to leave my house, but I just know that it's taken care of.
There's an option.
Yeah, totally, and I take back my time. So all of that to say, like, creating these exceptional experiences that we bring our customers on, that's so important. And I know that, like, obviously at like automation and workflow is a huge part of that, keeping this like a seamless guided flow for the customers, like Amazon takes me on every time I go through a checkout. You know, I know that Ramco does very much that and creates these optimized workflows and processes for organizations to be able to manage different areas of their organization, whether it's from an ERP perspective or an HR perspective. But yeah, maybe I know you've been asking me a question, but I'd be keen for you to talk a little bit more about how Ramco does that and how it does give a really seamless, easy, intuitive experience for people that use a Ramco solution.
Yeah, that's a good question. And so HR, aviation, logistics, So the aviation's amazing. This is almost fleet and maintenance for helicopters.
Yes.
One of the only 2 companies in the world that are in this area. HR, we're talking a couple million users in 35 countries globally. That this payroll system is. I guess with payroll, especially on hourly or even monthly, A, you got to get it right.
Yeah, yeah.
B, lots of people have different rules.
Yeah.
Whether you're afternoon, whether you're here, whether you're there, and we want to just be able to go in and out.
Yeah.
And even facial recognition,
Yeah.
like breathalyzers. We've got just things for different industries that are just tailored for seamless. And I think one of the core things is that we have got an incredible list of features that already the user can go, well, this will benefit me.
Yeah.
So here's the featured list that I require.
Yeah.
And then we help integrate that into a process flow that's going to make sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's about getting to know your business.
Yeah.
Right? In logistics, for instance, if we're talking about WS to TMS, so a lot of people integrate different APIs everywhere. Right? Oh, well, can you get the schedule from here, or the order is just from SAP, or so we're not here to change that, but we're here to at least show that we can create fluency.
Yeah.
And a way that we can actually get to the future.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with so many different personalities.
Yeah.
So, for instance, a driver's app has to be simple.
Yeah.
He can't press that thing 50 times.
That's right. Yeah.
He just needs to accept and get out of there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Whereas a fleet controller might want some detail around how he's going to build that day that's going to optimize his workload.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So I think we tailor it to a user as well.
Right.
So tailoring to a user experience, I think that's one of Ramco's strengths. It's being able to sort of see how can we understand that each user, a business manager doesn't want that detail.
No,
right?
No.
I need to see how that day is going.
Yeah.
Well, here's a quick snapshot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Portals, customers now, we have customer service centers in a lot of our businesses, but however, now customers can go into their own portal and see, well, there's 10 loads there for me today. There's 14 for the week. Oh, it looks like 5 of them have been, done in full.
Yeah.
They've got some PODs.
Yeah.
So we'll pay all those. It's done.
Yeah.
Billing's always an issue with a lot of big companies. This is how we pay, this is how we receive.
That's right.
Then how do we get together and resolve the differences?
Yeah.
So we take the stress out of that with a finance model.
Yeah.
We pay your people to remove that, make sure it's smooth, integrated, uses the latest tech, and then more importantly, just give better level of visibility.
Yeah.
It's just people are screaming for visibility these days.
Yeah.
And it's not like we have algorithms and AI that can make decision making.
Yeah.
If you need to set and forget, or manage some carriers, and he's a better option, right? So let's set a profile for that leg.
Yeah.
Because we know now time on the road we need to minimize.
Yeah.
Less Ks for the right sort of configuration.
Yeah.
It's a cutthroat industry. It's a 3 to 6%.
Yeah.
Fuel rises.
Yeah.
Can't buy a truck.
Totally. Yeah.
And not that many people these days want to be a driver.
Yeah.
So the industry's flooded with issues with small margins.
Yes.
So what you need is something that can back you up to remove all that manual work.
Yes.
And there's so many levels of compliance now, right? So Ramco touches all that to make sure it's fully integrated. Right. And it's not about pushing to say it should be all us. It's actually going, no, we can integrate with over there.
Yeah.
Right? We can integrate here. So we allow all those integrations to happen as well. So seamless transition and a good product methodology into make sure that your delivery is right.
Yes.
But it's understanding those key requirements.
Yeah.
Right. And this is where, I think, even with Process Pioneers and the product with you guys, I think that's something that I'd really like to try.
Yeah.
Right. I'd like to, in our next major project, let's get this out. Let's have a look at this as a tool and just see what a difference it is when all of a sudden I can take that to a steerco meeting and go, that's what we agreed on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of the time it's line by line, subject matter experts, somebody knows something a bit more.
Yeah.
Someone doesn't have the breadth to read all these.
Totally.
I just saw a tender the other day. It was 2,000 requirements for a warehouse management system. That's a lot, right? That's a lot of requirements. Now, how many people do you think sit there and go, yeah, it's about 1,900 requirements? Well, and then if you see the map to get from A to B, whether you need to store something, pick something, pack something, get it ready, that's essentially the flow.
Yeah.
the benefits then, obviously you integrate into it. But that's what I think really Ramco brings to the table. That global experience, really seeing different contracts. When I was at Toll, I helped drive Ramco into Toll Chemicals. And now we're having conversations with transport providers and warehouse providers that they want to just take that next level. And they're ready. I think people are ready. But change management's a big deal. You must see that a lot, change management.
Totally. I think it's a huge topic because we're dealing with people, we're working with people in whatever area of the organisation we sit, and so it's understanding that every person has different drivers and different motivators, whether it's from a professional point of view or from a personal point of view. Different things wake us up in the morning, different things keep us up late at night, and understanding who you're talking with and the language that you're using to make sure that they're resonating with you. You may even be talking about the same thing, but if you're just using different terminology and different language, it's amazing how that communication just doesn't happen when you're not on the same page. And you mentioned about with Ramco how you've got a tailored user experience depending on the particular person, and that's vital. That's so important, because you don't want a tool that you have a portion of the organisation adopt because they're the IT people or the business analysts, so they get it and they understand it. But then you've got everyone else in the organisation is like, oh, that's too technical for us, or it's too high level for us, or it doesn't have all the capability that we actually need. Like, I think it's quite a fine balance to get that right, where you've got a system there where anyone in the organisation can access and know what they're looking at. But change is huge, and I think that with the organisations, when working with the organisations we work with, if the champions or advocates for BPM or for process management don't have a change lens that they can put on. Important. It becomes really challenging, and that it's very easy to get weighed down into the process terminology and talking about the flow charts and the boxes and the squares and all this sort of stuff. If you're not a process person, you don't understand that. You understand the work that you're doing. You understand the KPIs and the metrics and the measures that you're aiming towards. And so being able to draw that link, that sort of tying in the work that you're doing with the goals and the objectives. It's so important.
So it becomes a reality.
That's right.
It's easy to say this is what we need to do, but all the layers below it, and then getting everybody involved in it. And I think process by design breaks it down so it relinquishes being overwhelmed. This is just that part. Just focus here. Leave it here. That's that process map. Boom, gone away. And there might be 10 of them. Because that's how big the tentacles in that organisation are. But I think the tool that you guys use is incredibly easy and intuitive, just to make sure you can make those branches, right, and keep it as simple or as complex as you need it to be.
Exactly.
Sending a message, having a conversation, and like I say, if you get the process right, you got better levels of communication. Better opportunity to automate and face this digital world. Imagine people, I saw this really nice caption where it was a building and people going, I don't think we need to turn digital just quite yet. And then there was a big wrecking ball and it had written COVID-19 on it, right? Like, things are happening environmentally, right? And they're out of our control. So the more that we adapt, think and move forward, the better we're going to be in the long run.
That's right. And I think another huge topic around this is governance, is ownership, is people actually having accountability for what's happening in the organisation. Because if there is no ownership, there is no accountability, nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to get done, nothing's going to improve in those areas. Because no one's neck is on the line, so to speak, with that particular area. So also being able to establish, well, who is responsible for this particular process? Who owns this from an end-to-end perspective and owns the different sections of it? And then who else needs to be consulted or informed? It's your classic RACI. It's who's responsible, accountable, consulted, informed in these particular areas of the process. Who do we actually need to bring into the picture or into the conversation to be able to provide their input, whether it might be a subject matter expert or someone on the front line actually doing the work. Like it's understanding all of the pieces to the puzzle to bring it all together.
Guys, if you need to know anything more about process, are you kidding me? But have you just heard how this guy talks? Absolutely amazing. This is our first Coffee Connect. It's welcome to Rambo Coffee Connection. Ideas that matter. This absolutely is a relevant topic. We're having a breakfast luncheon with some people in the industry that are going to come and show us, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail. But Daniel Rayner, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it, guys. Please click on the links below. There's plenty of information here, not only about Ramco, but about GBTEC. And I think the future is ours if we look at it in process, in design, and we go ahead without some fear. So take care, guys, and see you in episode 2.